Hey,
Hi,
can you hear me?
what's going on?
I'm happy that it's Friday. Like,
Yes,
really happy. How about
yes,
you?
I am too, man. I'm always happy when it's Friday.
Yeah.
I'm always happy. So, I told everybody 6:30, so I just wanted to get us going and get the invites coming out there as quickly as possible. So start just a tiny bit. We can start up to 10 minutes early.
Oh, okay. Oh, so
Mhm.
wait, this was a practice?
No, no,
Okay.
you just started, just a little early so we can get on and people can start coming on.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, yeah. So,
That's cool. How do you look at it on a full range? Because right now I'm seeing
oh
everybody,
no, I'm
you
trying
know?
to see the same thing. I have no idea.
Uh,
We're figuring this out as we go because hi that dude. We're just I don't know. Maybe this is the only way. Let's see here, because I'm afraid if I go back, if I press the back button, hi Ellie, that it's gonna take us somewhere else. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm afraid to play with it.
yeah,
So
don't do it. I mean, if
I'm not
anything,
gonna
you
do
do it live.
anything. I don't know. You guys, this is literally the first time we've done this earlier today. Hi, Marquise, 6 Corp. And Mona, welcome everyone that's joining in. We'll try to keep up with saying hi to everybody as they come. But Sadika and I are figuring this out as we go because I've done a lot of live stuff, just not on TikTok. I'm just starting this because I really like the community that I'm building here. What about you, Sadi?
Yeah, I mean, I love TikTok. I mean, I've been loving TikTok since I at first, when it started, I'm not gonna lie, all the dances and all I was like, okay, this is like I'm too old for this right here. Like, this is what my girls are on. But like the more that I tuned in, I think my algorithm dialed in and it was like I started seeing all of this stuff that I couldn't find anywhere else. Like it was like the news was more real on TikTok than it was anywhere else that I was finding it. And it was just, to me, it seemed like a lot more information was coming to the forefront. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, let me tune in. But then I started like liking the dances and everything. And I'm like, okay, so we do need to laugh. We do need to dance. And, it definitely became one of my favorite platforms to come on. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Brenda's here. Hi, cousin.
hey.
Hi, Angel. And who else joined us? I'm sorry to interrupt. I just couldn't not say hi to Brenda. What's up, girl?
Hey, I
I'm
mean,
I'm happy to see everybody,
it's been
but
forever
Brenda
since I've
is
seen
our
you on there. I
cousin,
hope all
and
is
I
well.
have not seen her in years, just
Right.
on posts and stuff, and so great to see you on here, cause and everybody else that's joining. Hi, Wilson. Thank you for joining us. We are just like talking about our introduction to TikTok, because that's kind of, I like you was like, heck no, that's for some babies. But I love, for me it was the animals. I just had to see the animal the animal videos and the baby videos and the dancing and stuff. I was like, whatever. But the babies and the animals, I was like, this is so cute. And then, like a year into having it, where I never posted the thing, someone said to me, one of the kids, I don't remember which one, said to me, "You have TikTok, Aunt Cece?" And I said, "Yeah." And they were like, "Why don't you use it?" And I said, "Huh?" They were like, "Why don't you use it?" I'm like, "Because it's for kids." And she was like, "No, it's not. It is not for kids. It's for everybody." So we're a little late to the game, but you know what? It's better. I don't think it's too late. I think it's just on time, right? Because of all the stuff that's been going on, and we're ready to do something together, engage people, grow a community here on TikTok. And what are we calling it, Saudi?
Okay, forewarning y'all, I'm a regular human being. I do have twin boys that are three, so if you hear them in the background right now, that's what's going on. But we're calling we're calling it the Ascension Lab because, we talked and I feel like we're all on a journey of remembering ourselves truly. And we didn't want to come across as, okay, well, we know what, everything. More is about our journey growing together. So that's why we came up with the Ascension Lab. It's a place where we can talk and learn from each other and grow.
Hmm. Yeah, because I mean, honestly, hi. Honestly, hi it. I have been on a spiritual journey since childhood. It's not new to me. I grew up having, seeing things, seeing angels, seeing other things. And by the way, anybody that's on here, share this if you would. Share this with your folks so that they can join this conversation. Um and so, church, I was in church and all of that kind of stuff, and I definitely vibed there. The whole concept of Jesus the man just was, he became my best friend. I talked to him all the time. I thought I was talking to myself, but it's bigger. It's even bigger than the church, the one church. Because one thing our grandfather always taught was there's many roads to God. And that was pretty profound for a man to preach in a Methodist church in the 70s. And he was also very much about bringing all people together, not just one race, not just but people from every kind of background. Hi, Brian. And um and and really wanted to bring all people in. And so, since there were so many different kind of people, learned a lot from a lot of people. But my real true spiritual journey, meaning I learned about other religions, I would start learning, was probably around 18. That's when I started, which was quite a long time ago. That was quite a long time ago. And but that's when I started reading books. I started really learning how to meditate. I was meditating all along, but didn't know what I was doing. And it reading books, conversations with God. And Shirley MacLaine's book, Out on a Limb, was the very first spiritual book I read, and that book definitely changed my life. It really, really did. What was the one called? The Celestine Prophecy, and then I started finding all the teachers, Deepak Chopra, and Joe Dispenza, and there's just so many phenomenal teachers that I've been following for many years. But it was a private thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like, I don't know if you would quote unquote call me an indigo child, but I mean, one of my first memories was sitting on the floor, and as far as I remember, it was God coming to talk to me. And I've always been really intuitive, and that made me different from everybody, like different, where I could see, hear, and feel more than most people. And for a long time, I kept it to myself. And when I was a child, that was channeled, I feel like, through creative expression because of Uncle King, you, Cindy. The books that you read, you shared it with me and Monica and our brothers and sisters growing up. But I also singing and dancing and reading and art, like I was able to do that. And I had probably one of the biggest imaginations you could ever imagine. The older I got, and when I left our hometown, I feel like, it was like I definitely shined. I didn't allow anybody's limitations to stop me, even though we definitely had certain situations growing up that weren't very favorable. But when I got older, I found myself in cycles, probably because of different trauma that we went through or I went through when I was younger. But my real remembering, and I'm going to call it a remembering because I don't think it's that I'm becoming, I think I'm remembering, because I do believe that we're energetic beings having a human experience. Really got jump started in the last relationship that I was in when I went through, I guess some people call it the dark night of the soul. But I pretty much had a point where it's like, if you don't learn your lesson, I'm going to reset you, like, this
Woo,
life is
Lord.
right.
Yeah,
So,
resets over and over and over again. It's like, how many times can I repeat this stupid pattern? What is
right.
wrong with me?
Right. So, that's how, and then ever since then, it was like I asked God to give me a chance this lifetime. And since then, I've just been following my intuition and the Holy Spirit, fighting for my sovereignty, is what I call it, and to really live as a free being, living with intention, with flow and divine alignment with the Most High God. And ever since I chose that for myself, there's like the I'm so different than I was 2.5 years ago. All the information I'm getting, everything, the downloads, it just flow into me, and it's just happening faster and faster. And so I am definitely remembering who I am, and I am a lawyer. I'm an advocate. I do social services for people with arrest and conviction records, but I'm stepping into who I'm, my real purpose in life, which is to be a teacher, a healer, and then a friend too, to everyone that will listen, who wants to understand and learn and grow.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing.
I want to say hi to Mercutio. I hope I said that correctly. Brian, what's up, dude? And let me see, Speakeasy, what's going on? Love to see everyone here. Speakeasy, we're fine. I'm fine. Hi, Shirley. And I just wanted to hi, chat. Oh, that's cool. I like that. We're just introducing ourselves. I think it's probably appropriate because not everybody knows about. Hey, Queen. Not everybody knows about my family. They don't know my personal life like that. Hi, Mari. So I am the oldest of seven kids. And when I say oldest, I mean like way oldest. There, there are three sets of us. I'm the oldest, and then I have two brothers that are younger than me, but we're in the first set. And then there's the middle set, Sodi Rose, the Most High God baby girl is her name here, and that's her handle. But Sodi Rose is one of my middle sisters, and Monica Rose. And then we have the babies, which aren't babies anymore, which is really crazy. But Sister Megan, or Insularic as she goes by, and then Mackenzie, who is only 2 years older than my daughter. So that's how wide the age ranges go with us. And I think it's important to mention that we all, in our way, have had a connection to spirit. We've all, I think our family has gifts. I know we do. My grandfather, my aunts, my uncles, there's a lot of gifts in our family, but we came from the Christian background. My father, or our father was a little different because while he grew up in the church, preacher's kid, he always searched for more. He called himself for a while a Buddhist. He learned how to astroplane when I was a little girl. My father used to come to me all the time, like astroplane, and come visit me because he would be working at night as a security guard in a hospital. And he would come to me. There was a portal in my bedroom, and my dad would come, and I would see him in astral. Like with my naked eyes, I would see my father, and we would talk. He would come at night, and we would talk. So this was like a part of our lives that we just kind of accepted, and nobody really tripped about. We didn't talk about it. It wasn't like we went around, telling everybody you got to be like us or anything like that. We just kind of had our own thing. While we were believers, we were also more, and we love people. And I think Daddy was a big part of that. He had this library of books of every subject matter that I know I read many of them, and and it was all about everything, from mental health to histories about science and science people, and his Albert Einstein was his favorite, and so we just had this really interesting upbringing that really made it okay for us to explore um, bigger questions, you know. Hi, Fodi. I hope I said it right. Fodi family, ND, and Queen. Thank you, love. So yeah, so we've been doing this stuff for a while. Um, but as I said, I was very private about it. But Sadaka, you've come out with a bang.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest, I feel like my intuition told me to really not share much about who I am because I'm gonna say it. When you shine, you become a target. Period. Like, and I know that I do a lot of work in the social services industry and the legal, and I don't involve the spiritual in that, but it very much embodies who I am on a daily basis in terms of my principles and how I stand up. And I just, I feel like for the longest, I had a reoccurring dream when I was a kid, and it was that I was some kind of leader, and I had no idea what it was. I had no idea who that person was. And like, I was like, okay, am I supposed to be U.S. senator? So I started off being like, I'm going to be a senator until I started working in politics, and I was like, I don't like anything about what these people are doing.
Mhm.
I was their writers, like their advisors in government, state, and local. And I worked in DC, and I was like, this is so corrupt. It's so bad. Like, I will never run to be US Senator because everyone will, not everyone, but a lot of people end up getting compromised when
Mhm.
they would run. And so I was like, okay, maybe I'm supposed to be a pastor, the pastors in our family. And I was like considering that. I'm
Yes.
like, no, I don't understand how I'll be a traditional pastor. But it's all about divine timing, right?
Mhm.
Because like I don't think I would be stepping into who I am today if COVID didn't happen. If things hadn't just kind of the system started collapsing, like, which is what's bringing us today for, like, kind of how people are feeling. TikTok emerged. It used to be when you wanted to be seen that you had to go speak at events or you had to go to
Mhm.
different functions. Now we have the power of social media, so you can be seen anywhere. So it's just it's like everything is kind of coming into fruition by itself. And I definitely feel called to do this work. I'm hoping that I will start writing some books soon. I have like 13 penned that I want to write on spirituality, but making it relatable. Honestly, my goal is that people prioritize spirituality like front and center in their lives.
Mhm.
So that is what I'm planning and hoping for. Hold on, Cindy, I got to turn off my notifications. Hold on.
That's okay. I want to say hi to the folks who just joined us. So nice to see you. Let me see, Andra Dukes, what's up? And Brenda says TikTok has provided a platform to connect and share information. Exactly. And as a matter of fact, you all, please, we really welcome and want to hear from you. If you have any thoughts or you want to share anything about yourself, also we this is not about just Saudi and I. This is about building a community, and eventually when we get to know people, we want to have more voices come on, and because we call this lab, we're serious. This is about growing together, evolving together, because um while it's very most important, in my opinion, to grow within, listen to that voice within. I mean, I've gotten to there was a point in my life where my spiritual leaders were the be all to end all, and I realized that while my spiritual leaders were so blessed and a blessing to me. But they were people too, with flaws, and putting them and pedestalizing them was a terrible idea, because that is when you lose all belief. And if it's not coming from inside of you, and it's coming from an external point, or another person, then it could really shake up your own faith in yourself and your trust and your intuition, especially if you're listening to someone who goes through their own dark night of the soul and drops away and takes a different road than you thought or whatever. So it's just, to me, best that everybody needs to listen to that source within first. But then I think it's extremely important that we also need to start coming together, especially people of color, because I watch a lot of stuff, I read a lot of stuff, and I see a lot of our Caucasian brothers and sisters out there talking and doing. And I'm happy to see us in there too, but I think there needs to be more of us that are
Absolutely.
participating.
I absolutely, y'all, because if we don't bring a diversity, right, in a world where transhumanism is being pushed on everybody, where we're talking about AI doing all the work and everybody's supposed to be the same, good evening. We have to really stress diversity. It seems like there's a war on diversity right now, but when we're talking about diversity, we're talking about diversity of perspective, but diversity in terms of spirituality too, right? Our energy, what we're bringing to the table. And if we don't do that, and if we don't make spirituality relatable and digestible in our everyday lives, that's why we put it over there. That's why we say, oh, we're going to go to church, over there. We're going to wait till the weekend to do this. No, it's an everyday practice. And it's very important for your health and your mental health and your well being. And people really have to understand that. Cindy, I was doing a time check
Mhm.
on our time, if we can start talking about the shift in the signs. So,
Mhm.
because, we're
Yes,
kind of.
definitely. I do want to say hi to Queenie. Hi. Mercutio said, war against us ain't never stopped. Now they more mad we minding our own business. True that. Hey, TK. She said it's definitely a war on diversity.
But we really,
Uh, mhm. Go on,
we got to
sorry.
push back against that.
Hmm.
You know, we definitely have. But I feel like, it's, and this is where we're talking about the shift that's happening. Anytime you see a lot of resistance, it's because they're losing power. We call it the powers that were. There are a lot of thoughts about why things are happening the way that they're happening. Why all these planes are falling in. Why everything seems to be crumbling. It's because all of the solar flares, and really, y'all, it seems so gloomy and dim, but we are actually in a time of ascension. And I use an analogy in some of my words before, because I do daily words. Y'all check me out, like, share, subscribe on my page. But it's that if you're in a dark forest and it's all dark and you don't see what's going on around you, you just keep on walking even though you don't know the danger around you. But when you're walking through the forest and a clearing comes, right, and the light starts coming in and you start getting illuminated, what has always been there around you, and you become more aware of what's around you, then what starts happening? Stuff is going to start crumbling around you. And while you might have been walking before and not had any resistance, the more you want to go toward the light, the more resistance you're going to face. And that is equivalent to what is happening to us. And either you can choose to go through the obstacles and the challenges and get to the light, or you can go back in the darkness, where you say. And that's really the choice that we have at this moment.
I was fortunate in that I had a few experiences that prepared me for what we're going through right now. I've mentioned it. Some people that listen to some of my other lives that I do on different platforms have heard some of this stuff. But one of the experiences I had was when I was a kid. My grandfather, I used to dream a lot, very vivid dreams, and there were a lot of them were prophetic. And one of the dreams I had was I was standing in this big field and I was looking up at the sky, and it was all the clouds were shaped. It was like an atlas. All the clouds were shaped in the continents, the sides of the continents, and they were pitch black and stormy clouds. And while watching it, I felt this sense of separation from it, but at the same time, I sensed that those clouds were getting ready to cause a major storm. So I reached out to my grandfather, like I did about all my dreams, and told him my dream, and he told me, he goes, "You're just seeing what's coming. You're seeing what's coming." I was like, "Well, what does that mean? Does that mean a world war? What does that mean?" And he goes, "I don't know. I don't know what it means, but it means that the entire world is going to be affected by it." So I had that dream. I was about 13, way before Sodi was born. And then I had an experience where I had a near death experience. Maybe another show will get deeper into that. But I was given an option of staying in bliss, out of this reality, and being a witness to what was coming, or I could come back to my body and be a participator.
That's
And
real.
yeah, and I
That's
was
real.
yeah, and I was told that, they gave me an option. I did not have to come back. I could have stayed because I had died, and I loved it where I was. Okay, but there were some people, mainly my daughter, that was like, I'm not sure if I kind of want to participate with her, even though I know she's fine. I know everybody's fine. Everything is awesome. I still am not ready, I don't think, to leave her. And they told me, well, you should know that there is a very dark times coming. This was in 2014. They said
Mhm.
there are very dark times coming, and it's going to be difficult. But, but it is bringing in and ushering in a new day for humanity. Everything is changing, um, but it's just going to be dark to get to that light. It's going to be dark. And they told me, and they said that I would not live to see it in its full blossom, but I would be there to see the beginnings of the changing and the shifts. But my daughter was going to live in it, and then she would share a lot of things that I've written over the years, because I've written a lot of stuff, and she said
Beautiful.
that she would be the one that would put a lot of stuff that I've been writing and whatever. She would be the messenger. And it's odd because her name is Sophia Gabrielle, Wise Messenger. That's her name,
That's awesome.
isn't
That's,
it?
that is
So,
awesome.
so I've never been afraid, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Of
I
all
mean,
this stuff that's
you
going
can't
on,
be afraid right now.
because
That's
I knew it was coming. I just didn't know what was coming. And Mercutio said, he's a paramedic, and I see people when they transition
you
speak
got
to
a
them.
lot of interesting conversations.
Yeah. You see
You're a
people when
medium.
they're transitioning, speaks to them sometimes after, and had it since the age of 7. Oh my gosh, yeah, we're definitely going to want to hear from you more.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
TK said that she's experienced that a lot too. Hi, Tafa.
hey, TK, I'm glad you made it on.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, the worst thing that you can do right now is be fearful. Like literally when things get as chaotic as they are gonna be, or they are right now, you have to stay focused, you have to stay calm, you have to stay grounded. And a lot of people think that, the world is telling them that they don't have any power, but they have all the power. We have all the power, and that's because we are divine. We're divine beings from the most high God. And it's like, okay, well, the world is going to do what it's going to do, but in reality, whatever healing we do inside, because of the law of correspondence, which is whatever happens inside the micro happens on the outside in the macro, the world, right? The earth, the universe. If enough of us, if we reach a threshold, and that's why this lab is here today, if enough of us decide we're not going to live in illusions anymore, we're not going to live in fear, we're not going to be detached from ourselves, we're not going to let the world prescribe what we should think or what we should do or how we should live. We're not going to allow the world to keep us prisoners in our own mind anymore. The more free everything will be, we have to stand in our sovereignty and our freedom. And we have to be a collective. Like pretty much the powers that were are going to go as far as we let them in real talk in terms of the things to come. And so I think, coming to the lab to focus on yourself, to learn, to hear what we have to say, but also to join the conversation is going to be very important. That is actually putting in the work that's going to help change the world. And if you share this and then also just have conversations with people in your lives and you start changing yourself, you will start seeing a ripple effect. It will explode.
Mm-hmm.
TK said, that's right, stay focused. Yeah. We make mistakes when we get confused. We do crazy things when we get fearful.
Right.
Know?
Fear is the opposite of love. It's the opposite, because if you are in a vibration of love, there's no way to feel that feeling. There isn't. It's only when we get away from it that we feel fear. And you're talking to somebody that's had fear issues. I mean, I think that's part of my curse. I don't know about you, Sada. You're pretty brave, but I think we all in our family, that's one of the generational curses that we're breaking in the Williams family, is that fear that stops us from making forward movement, and more of a fear of success than failure, I think.
Cindy, like I am brave, but I found that like, when I was younger, I had this fire in me. I have this brave, and I think it's because I was still connected to my pure source innocence, where my imagination and defiance, and I would not let anybody put any kind of invisible chains or boundaries on me. But the older I got and the more programmed I got from this world that told me how I should be and what I was and what I wasn't, and then made me it. I lost my bravery at a certain point in my life when I lost self-confidence, when I didn't believe in myself anymore, when I started doubting myself. And it's because I had people around me who I had tracked it in because of my low self-confidence. It wasn't until I got this awakening, literally, of God coming back in my life when I was at my lowest, darkest point about 4 or 5 years ago, that I got woken up. And I was like, and I realized that I was like I felt like I was in a bird cage. And it was from that moment I was like, I am no longer going to be this person. I'm going to fight for myself, and I'm going to be brave, because when you stand for yourself, everybody is against you. When you really, like in work, personally, when you start, like, people, for some reason, people want to control people. People want to, people want to control people. And when people have things better than them, they, instead of feeling happy for them, people have these emotions that come up where they get jealous or envious, and we got to get out of that cycle of control, right? We equate control with good, but it's not. It's actually about alignment and balance, which is going to help us transition to the next subject we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, Marquise said, so happy to be on. This is a spiritual journey, and we are in a spiritual war. Absolutely. Love is king. No fear. And he's got to leave. Thank you so much for joining us in the time that you did, and we look forward to seeing you again next time, which we still have to decide when that is. We're going to, this is, like I said, this is the very beginning.
It might not be a Friday at 6:30 because your girl got off work and I was ready to go take a nap. I'm getting geriatric. I was like, I think I'm going to need some coffee.
TK said straight facts, being controlled, manipulated by others, forcing their false beliefs on people. Exactly. Yeah, that that has been going on for millennia. I think it's just at a fever pitch right now. It's at an all time high because it's the end of it. It's the end of an
And
era.
I think we've been getting control for a long time, maybe longer than most people are ready to accept.
Yeah.
We can just see it. And
Mhm.
AI is actually like fast tracking the rate that people actually understand the level of prison. Because I did a message for this. Why you don't need chains when you can mess with people's minds? When you can keep them trapped inside their mind, you don't need chains anymore. And that is really honestly what's happening to us, y'all. And even for people who ending up in the incarceration system, it's still psychological. It is still a war on your spirit and your mind. And so that is why it's so important to be really grounded right now in what matters. What are your principles? What are your beliefs? What are your spiritual practices? How do you keep yourself clean from negative influences? How do you keep your circle of people around you so that they are supportive of you and loving?
Yeah, I think it's those are all questions we're going to be dealing with here. This is kind of like a general overview because this is the first time we're meeting with you, but our shows will be a little bit more focused on specific things for growth, and we hope you guys really participate and come back. TK said she had a great spiritual awakening back in 2018. Oh,
Hey.
tell us what happened, TK. Um, so, Sadika, you wanted to get into masculine and feminine. You want to do that?
Yeah, I mean, so I brought up this subject because I really do think that this power struggle that seems to be happening between masculine and feminine, if you look at public discourse and like what people are always talking about in the news, in the media, every day, relationships, how we deal with each other. It could be at work, it could be at home. Just really understanding our dynamics with each other between the masculine and the feminine. And I was just talking about control, how we are taught, that okay, control, especially the men, right? The men are taught that to be in control is what they're supposed to be doing. But the real power actually is in creation, right? It's in what we are creating together. And so men, we can consider, and this is actually real cool, y'all. Like I said, we build in the lab together because this is something that I want to learn more about as well. So that, like in my relationship, for example, that I'm in, I can be influenced and understand him better. But men are thought of as the builders, the architects, the warriors. And so when men step really into their power, they're going to be creating the systems, the communities, the legacies. And women are the creation. They are the divine wisdom. They create. So they're the visionaries. So if a woman says, for example, I want a new house, the man is gonna go out and make it happen. So that's like a very simple illustration of how a masculine and feminine energy work. But it's important to note that all of us have feminine and masculine energy inside of us, and a lot of us are out of balance in that regard.
Hmm. Yeah, I know. I know. Like for me, and I talked a little bit about this before um, on a different platform, but I was definitely out of balance when it came to. I had far more masculine happening because I felt like I really had to take care of myself. I was the oldest of all the kids. My parents, had the things that they were going through. So I had to run the show a lot. And that's being in my masculine. I was protective of my siblings. I had to make sure, when I did start working, doing my movies and stuff like that, I sent my money back. I did it that way. I didn't really pour into myself at all. Receiving is a feminine, a feminine quality, right? Masculine is pouring in and feminine is pouring out. And we have both. And so I was so used to doing everything for everybody that when I got to the place where now I'm looking for a partner, it was very confusing because I was attracted to men who were like my dad, providers, strong, protectors, all of this. And, my dad was out there working 3 jobs, doing that thing and making sure that we were eating and living and whatever. And that's how I was taught. But I never had that experience because I did it. Our mom she was a different kind of person. She came up from a different culture. She's a white lady from a small white town where you don't speak up and you don't, So there were some things that I watched that I leaned into my dad's way because he was stronger and more vocal and all of that in his teaching to us. Mom was more quiet and passive, and so I found myself being the provider, being the protector, being in every relationship I was with. And in a unconscious way, I was emasculating the men that I was with and not letting them do for me because I did everything for them. And it seemed on the outside to be a good thing because, oh, she's paying the bills and cooking me my dinner and taking care of my home and doing all this and all. But they didn't have opportunity to do anything for me because I was not used to receiving. I was only used to giving, 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 giving. And that in itself is also out of balance. It seems
Mhm.
honorable and nice, but it's not when you take away someone else's ability to give to you, that's taking from them in a way. And so I have been learning over the years how to receive, how to let a partner or a mate do for me, to trust them that they're going to do it, to trust that they're going to protect me, to trust that they have a mind for how to lead and be okay with that. I don't have to be all things to everybody. And I think that's a my micro problem that is really an issue in the macro, especially in the Black community, because of what happened with our families and
Mhm.
how they took so many of our men out of our families just to keep this whole slavery intact, just using another way to do it. And
Yes.
so that's part of what's happening in the Black community when it comes to the balance with men and women.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to what is actually protection, when we talk about our women being protected, what does that actually mean? Because in this concept of masculine and feminine energy, if the man is truly the architect, right, of the vision, if the man is out of balance between his feminine and masculine energy, guess what? That whole house is going to be out of balance. And we see it. We see it with our families, y'all. We see it how generational curses. You were just talking about, Black families, but this applies to all families as well. If the walls are faulty foundation, then we're going to have problems with everything, right? So I think that's something that we really need to understand. And when a man says, I want to lead, we really, is it really about who's leading, or is it about how we're going to create together? Because I, as a woman, I also have had to, I'm also working on being in balance because like you, I have had to be independent and do a lot myself. And it was because there was not a man to protect me.
Hello? Oh, did you mute yourself?
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh.
And so it was because I didn't have the right people to protect me in my lives. And so I had to step up and be independent and step into that masculine energy, and that was, and that's all I knew for most of my life. I pretty much, as a child with Monica, raised myself. So, like I had to be more masculine in my energy. And so as I've come to actually know good men, and I'm not talking about just in intimate relationships, y'all, with people. I'm talking about just relationships with people where you trust people, you allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to get to know people. I've had to learn how to dial that back, because sometimes, you got to understand how the two of you will complement each other, right? So if a person is more masculine in a relationship and says, okay, well, I'm going to be the practical one, I'm going to be the one to pay the bills, I'm going to be the one to buy the house, I'm going to be the one to do the more business side of things, and you have the more creative, intuitive, or the woman who's bringing creativity, or not necessarily a woman, just more feminine energy. You got to learn how to respect each other and how to work together with each other so that you're complementing and so that you're building and creating versus in conflict with each other. We don't have to be in conflict with each other, and we need to get out of trying to own each other. Why do we want to own each other? Why do we want to control each other? You know? I, you
We've
know?
been taught, you know, by inference and directly, that other people complete you. And that goes back to what I was talking about in the beginning: healing yourself inside, loving yourself, knowing yourself, understanding yourself. Because if you don't do that internal work, you're reaching out externally to try to fix your internal issues, then you just create trauma. And usually people attract that both come with trauma. And if they're not working on themselves personally, then it gets worked through the relationship, and that's a very difficult relationship to that it's hard to survive that. And the thing is, I want to be clear here, like Sadi said, it's like there is masculine and feminine in all of us. And it might just be, say, in this example, maybe the man is more into his feminine, not being a woman, but he wants to raise the children. He's got a creative eye. He wants to, and the woman is a power broker. She's a CEO of a company and blah, blah, blah. She's more into her masculine. That works. That works. But they have to understand each other, they have to understand themselves individually, who they are, and then they have to communicate that to each other so that they don't end up bumping heads once they get into this relationship. Those are things that you figure out before you really dive deep into a
Before you
relationship.
have kids.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
before you have kids or anything,
or buy
because
a house.
those are conversations that so many we get so caught up in the physical sensations and the adrenaline and the hormones and that romantic love, which is very important, but it's not sustainable. You can love each other physically, but after a certain amount of time, if you don't have that inner strength and understanding, and you're not friends, and you don't understand your roles in the relationship, that goes away.
My last relationship, because I make a good amount of money. As an attorney, my last relationship, it was a problem. It was a problem because it made that person very insecure. It made him very insecure that I was more on the masculine side of, like, in terms of like stability, and providing the space and consistency. But he wasn't, but I fought myself retrospectively because we were not in alignment. Like we were saying, how you're supposed to have, these conversations before. Like when we realized we were out of alignment, we should have just went our own way, because he didn't have the strength of a strong divine masculine, where it's like, I understand what you're doing, but I'm still providing structure to this household and the
Mhm.
walls, so that I would then, feel like, okay, I'm going to respect you, and I'm going to allow you to lead in that way. And I couldn't respect or allow him to lead in that way because he didn't make me feel safe. He was not my safe place. He didn't make me feel safe. He didn't make me feel stable. He didn't make me, feel like I had a steady foundation. So I would not budge from the prior role that I had because he didn't do that. Result, it was straight chaos because he definitely wasn't going to be more on the feminine side, because he was kind of operating in a narc energy, which is a whole nother issue. But that's like a real time example of like what can happen now if you get a person, and you know even if a woman is making money, right, and holding it down, if a man comes into her life and she feels that she can trust him, and that he's supportive of her, and that she believes that he can lead, and that he, with whatever the two of them envision, will honor it and allow her to create within the structure that he's building, then she should be like, great, let's go. Let's go. Um, but yeah, it to me.
But I
Mhm.
think it's important though, because this is something I found. For years I'd always taken care of everything, everybody, right? And then my in one of my relationships, I was told, I got you. Take a breather, raise your daughter. I I did. I let go, and I let let him lead that way, and it was lovely for about 2 years until I realized that I was one of at least two relationships. You know what I mean? And I had totally given over my power to him, and it really bit me in the ass. Okay, it really. So again, while if you're fortunate enough to have a pair where you figured out the dynamics and all that kind of stuff, you can't ever lose yourself.
You're right. You're absolutely right. No, because we're not supposed to be with people to make us whole. We're supposed to create something completely new. And I feel like that is what people are missing. We're not supposed to be with people so that they can make us whole. Like, and that's why we end up in these positions. But also, Cindy, on that note, one of the hardest things that I've had to come to know is releasing. I'm great at new connections. I'm a Leo. I'm so loyal. But when it comes to releasing, I suck.
Yeah.
So I've been I've
All
been
you Leo
working.
women. Ah!
So
See me, I'm the opposite. I'm like, peace.
hey, Angie. And TK, I just wanted to tell you that you've been working on that. You've seen both sides of you. I'm sorry. The finest man is a balanced man. Like, where you're in your masculine, but at the same time, women want a man that knows how to be real with his emotions and knows how to articulate those emotions. There are a lot of men who are so caught up in being a man and all of that, that they don't even know how to share their emotions. They don't know how to show emotion, and be more on the nurturing side. And a woman wants to be held. A woman wants to be touched. A woman wants to be made to feel special. And so I just wanted to say kudos to you on that, because I know it's probably as it is in all of us. I know I struggle with the balance too, but it's very important that we strike that balance. And I'm sure same thing with men, like when it comes to women, like if a woman's not balanced and she's emasculating him and putting him down and making him feel like, like he can't lead, and that's a problem too.
Yeah, I want to read a couple of these comments. Hi, Angie. Thanks for joining us. Um, um, Family Indie Services that says there are also family and friends boundaries to consider. Yeah, yeah. When you're dealing with them, I think it's all a co-creation. Oh, Mercutio, Libra, once I like you, ain't no others.
Okay, I got it, TK. I just couldn't see your picture well. You're like a little bubble, like this big.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. But yeah, but it's still, again, that's why I try not to use the word man, woman, because
Right.
it's in your
Masculine.
masculine and feminine, because I have gay friends, and there are definite dynamics in those relationships. I have a girl, a couple of girls that have been together for many, many, many years, and both are very balanced in their male and female, but one is certainly carries the load when it comes to the providing and the protecting, and the other fulfills the role of the more nurturing. She cooks all the food, and she takes care of the household things and all of that kind of stuff. But they both are whole people. They're
Right.
both whole people. I love this little saying. I can't remember where I read it, but it's like in people are not halves when they come together. It's two wholes. You come together to do this dance of co-creation.
Yes.
Because if you're going to be with someone to complete you, they can't. It's not possible. Only you can complete you. And so that means getting acquainted with your masculine and your feminine.
Yeah.
Like, for
And
instance,
did you?
Sadaka.
Right.
I've watched Sadaka. I've watched my stepmom Susan, and I've seen them do it all. Right? They bring home the bacon and fry it up in the pan. They do it all. And our but at the same time, I'll ask Sadaka, can I come over? She's like, I have to ask my partner. I'm like, oh my god. So she trying to find that harmony, right? Um, you a real one for that. Oh, of
Well,
course.
no, I just want to, a question was in the chat was, which, do women lose respect for men with these emotions? Out of balance, feminine, I would
Yes.
say.
An
To
out of
me,
balance feeling.
because it goes both ways, because I do know some women who probably wouldn't like that a man showed more emotion if she was raised by a man who taught her that men should be a certain way and that control was the way to go and that a woman should just not really oppose and just listen and do what she's supposed to do, then that woman's definitely probably in her own relationships going to treat whoever is in her life the same way. So, I mean, y'all, we got to decide to stop living the lies of our ancestors. All due respect to you ancestors, I got mad respect. I love my ancestors, y'all. But a lot of us live the same lies of our ancestors because, like, I know, Cindy, with our family, did nobody talk about what happened? Nobody talked about the trauma. No one talked about the toxic habits. No, a lot of the women, older women in our life, they very much went through it and they were not protected. They were not, they didn't talk about it with the kids. Like everything I know is because Cindy, like it's for you, Cindy. Like, and then like reading it in books, and my dad toward the end of his life, people didn't really talk in our family. And I know that is, I don't know about other, races and ethnicities, but in the black community, that's definitely a thing where we don't talk about things. We kind of just, let them go, and then it just goes from generation to generation.
And me myself, I love a manly man that can come home to me and cry on my shoulder. I want him to be a protector, and I want him to, be strong, but I want him to be able to communicate with me his deepest, darkest feelings too, because that is balanced. That is balanced. If he doesn't want to show that face to other people, that's cool. But you're right. Some people, if they're out of balance, they will have an issue with with a man in his. Now I just happen to.
You
It's
don't want no
all.
man I can walk on though. You know, I'm a Leo woman too.
Oh no, I
I can
can't. I can't have
I
nobody,
can't
no
do that.
softies. I can't be. I dated this one guy back in college that was the sweetest. He would write me poetry, and I was definitely not feeling that at those times. I was like, ew. I did not like it. But now, if a man comes and sings something to me that he wrote for me, woo, blows my mind. I
Oh, I
love
do.
it.
I want a man to write poetry. I want a man, you know, like you don't it's not about what people buy. Like we got to get out of that too, y'all. It isn't.
That's another show. That's
Yeah,
another show. The
I-
consumerism issue and
but
all
it's
of
to
that.
care. It's to actually show and like to not have to ask for it, you know, just to care about someone's well-being. Like, do you feel well? Do you need to sit down and rest? Like, just to care for each other. Cindy, I know you want to keep going because I know this is a great conversation.
Yeah, we are having a great conversation, but we're gonna I think stick to the 2 an hour as to not go overboard. But the more we do, if you guys want us to go longer, we will go longer.
Well, what time
I'm glad
can
you're
y'all
taking,
share
baby. That's good.
feedback
What's that?
about? I was going to ask them to share feedback about what days and times they think, and also I think we should be open to topics for conversation. What do you think?
Oh, I'm definitely open because this is a lab. And there are more than one scientist in the lab, and I continue, I consider everybody that's joining in a part of it. And so, even eventually to invite more collaborators onto this live so we can have more of a conversation. But I'm gonna be honest, you guys, this is Sadi Rose's baby. I am, like I said, I'm more on the mental health side of things. She's more on the spiritual side of things when it comes to publicly. But I am all about, right now. I think mental health is hand in hand with spirituality. It has to be. Even if you are a non-believer in something bigger than you, and you just believe in yourself and the trees, that to me, that is I accept whoever people are, and if they want to add to this conversation, I'm willing and ready, just as long as we keep it on the respectful tip, because I'm hoping to reach a wide audience of people, to help multiple people, including younger generations.
It's the younger generation that really needs to hear this, y'all.
Yeah, I'm an X. Saudi's a millennial. We love to have the
I'm
Z's.
an old millennial.
She's she's on the older end of the
I'm
millennial,
like, I'm at the very.
and I'm actually I think I'm 2 years into X. I'm all 2 years earlier. I would have been a boomer. But anyway, when you remember your age, goodness gracious. But
A 1982 classic, okay? 19 when the cartoons were still good.
exactly.
I don't know what happened to these cartoons, but they are. I mean, y'all. I don't know where everybody on this live was born, but like I sometimes, because everything is energy. How it used to feel back in the 80s. Y'all remember how it used to feel? I just want to bring back some of the lightness that we used to have. It's so dense and it's so dark and it's so heavy nowadays. And I can't wait till it becomes lighter, you know?
Yeah, it's gonna lighten up. We just gotta stay strong in the midst of it all. And I liked Sadika. Sadika's so organized. You can tell she's a lawyer. I'm just a blah, 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 but Sadika got stuff formatted and everything. But I like what you said about, this is not just a conversation. This is a movement, because the illusions are fading, the truth is rising, and we all need to wake up, right? We all need to do it together. It's so much better when you wake up from a nightmare and you're surrounded by people to get you through to the dream. So I'm very excited that Sadi came up with this idea, and I'm supporting her 100%. And as soon as we get her numbers where they need to be, she gonna be the host. But until then, until then, I'm gonna keep it hosted. So please, everybody, share and share this with your friends. Tell people, join us again.
Please, I
If
cannot.
you have any ideas about themes you want us to get into, we will. And what is that? Somebody did something. Um, Drag this piece. Okay, they're making me prove I'm a real person. Um,
Oh,
okay, I didn't know that was going to happen. Maybe because we're up to a little over an hour.
thank
Um,
you, TK. Thank you,
yeah,
everybody.
but
And
everybody follow
oh,
us,
oh,
tell
did,
your friends, and we'll be posting and letting you all know when the next show is. But it
we
will
have
be on the
somebody
evening.
requesting to join, I think, but we're about ready to end. Sorry. As soon as we have another live, we'll put it out. We'll let you know. We're about to wrap up the show right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Hey, sis,
please,
thank you for even considering it, and I hope you come back. Let me ask you, Sadi, do you think next Friday is okay? You want to just since
sure.
we got
Unless it's Saturday, I think that's what I was saying. If y'all could like let us know like in the comments or just even on any of our posts or a direct message like what time you think is better because we really want to we want to have a good audience. We want to engage. If Friday night is too much because people need to decompress from work, completely understandable. So just that feedback as well. So it'll be sometime within the next week.
yes, either Friday or Saturday. Love you guys so much. Love you, Sadi. Thank you so much. You're off Fridays and Saturdays. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this, Ange. All right, Brenda, if you're still out there, thank you, TK. Everybody that Mercutio, all of you that had Queen Kiana, my girl. Thank you
So
so much.
can we put down we had I think it was up to 14 people in the lab tonight. Look, as a teacher, because when you have a smaller group, we can really get to work. So for
Mhm.
me, that is an accomplishment. Like this isn't about the likes, this is about the growth and the alignment and the flow. So thank y'all. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you so much. I love you guys. See you next time, next
Good night.
Friday or Saturday. We'll let you know. Bye bye.
Peace.